Okay, I hope you're still in for a third round. I'm going to talk to you about the research I have carried out very recently on the potential of immersive virtual reality for soft skills training in collaboration with Bodyswaps. Now, probably you're aware of this, but there's a huge challenge because by 2030, 1 billion people will be radically see their jobs transformed by technology. And we need to reskill and upskill them to make them ready for the next decade future. Now, how are we going to do that? This is a huge challenge. And within this reskilling and upskilling, there are, of course, industry-specific skills, but as equally important, we need to focus on the so-called 21st century skills, more general skills, focusing on communication, collaboration, and so on. Now, as I said, the current approach will not satisfy. It will not be enough to get there. So in the report by the World Economic Forum in 2022, extended reality, those immersive technologies were explicitly mentioned as one of the technologies which could afford for this reskilling revolution. Now, this is not by coincidence, of course, because you probably know this hype cycle. Extended reality is past the trough of disillusionment, so there's no longer a hype. It's still very popular, of course. Gladly, otherwise I hadn't no job in this. But the technologies are mature enough to be implemented and to be used in a proficient way. Now, what is extended reality? I refer to the original continuum by Milgram and Cascino. You see on the left, you see the real environment as we see each other here right now. On the other hand, you have the complete virtual environment, which is the virtual reality, completely different, computer generated. Everything in between we call mixed reality. It's a mix between the real environment and the digital, the virtual environment. It includes augmented reality and virtual reality. At some point, Microsoft launched his mixed reality headsets, which were actually just virtual reality. So complete confusion. And now, to talk about the complete continuum of mixed reality, we use the term extended reality. So extended reality is actually an umbrella term for AR, VR, mixed reality as a whole. But what is immersive virtual reality and why should we use it? Why is it so popular? People are doing really strange things when they wear a virtual reality headset. If you want to check it out, just YouTube virtual reality fails, enjoy. But it shows the potential and the power of this technology because it immerses the user in a complete virtual environment, and we really think we are there and we behave as we are there. So it's really powerful. Therefore, it can be used for training because you can transport the user or the trainee into a complete virtual environment, but behave as you were actually there. As such, if you look at the current research, there's a huge increase in research on immersive technology in educational settings. We see a lot of review studies, a lot of meta-analysis. A short summary of why should we use virtual reality in education. You can do whatever is otherwise impossible. You can train safely. There is no limitation. You have a really personalized training experience. There's powerful feedback, including analytics. And it increases motivation, enjoyment, and self-efficacy, which all leads to a deeper learning experience. Okay, now let's apply this to soft skills training, and then we see that there is far less research on this. Actually, it's rather scarce. So, some preliminary results. It leads to equal learning outcomes when compared to other instructional methods. It, however, increases motivation, it increases self-efficacy, and it increases engagement. So nearly the same results as the other industry settings. So, to conclude, yes, XR makes it a superior option when compared to other trainings, when compared to using other media. Of course, if you see this, you say, okay, oh my God, this is the next thing, I want to use it. Of course, I agree. However, as is expressed by several other authors, we first need to think about which factors affect the acceptance and use of technology, because just simply implementing it will not work. We have to think about how should we implement it. And this brings us to our study. So the first question was actually which factors contribute or inhibit the acceptance of immersive virtual reality for communication skills training when applied to higher education students and instructors. Next, because several research has shown that there are individual differences, are there significant moderating variables accepting this acceptance? And finally, we saw the list of educational affordances. Does this apply to soft skills training? So these were the three research questions in this study. How did we do this? First, as I said, it was a collaboration with Bodyswaps and Meta. Meta provided Bodyswaps with 200 headsets, and they said, okay, you can do what you want, but show us the potential of immersive technology. So recruitment of participants was done via the recruitment procedure by Bodyswaps. Not open universities, but it's open to universities and colleges in the US, UK, and Europe could apply. It was done during October and November 2022. And during January to May, actually, they could use the technology, including the software, the Bodyswaps software, unlimitedly. They were also provided with some training, some support, as has been shown, very important. And they agreed to join the research, however, on a voluntary basis. Before I delve into the results, let me show you a small fragment of what Bodyswaps actually is.
Soft skills are like superpowers. You see, hard skills may qualify you for a job, but soft skills, they're the real secret to success. These are the transferable skills that help us communicate, collaborate, and connect with others. But building these skills in the real world can be hard. This is where the vision for Bodyswaps began. Imagine a virtual world where you can supercharge your soft skills and accelerate your progress. That lets you practice when and where you want and fail safely without real-world judgment or consequences. In Bodyswaps, the magic of VR gives you the power to step into another person's shoes to truly understand how others see you. And AI analytics give you detailed, personalized feedback to help you fine-tune your performance and unlock your full potential. We're making this world a reality today.
So Bodyswaps is actually a tool to practice your soft skills in a virtual environment with a virtual avatar, a virtual conversation partner, and later on you switch bodies literally, and you look back at your own performance and see how you did. So this is really a great way to tap into the potential of immersive technology. Okay, we, as it was on a voluntary basis, we only, from the 100 institutions who were selected, 45 institutions were engaged in the study from 8 different countries, and in total we had 583 respondents. From that, there were 480 students, 103 instructors, 305 were male, 265 female, and 13 said they had another gender. 289 from university, 294 from college. When looking at their prior experience with virtual reality, you see that it was rather low. Only few students and instructors had prior experience with immersive technology, but most of them had kind of a moderate experience with soft skills training, with communication skills training. They were from very different domains. I'm not going to dive into this, but to investigate how they perceive of the potential of this technology, we use the UTAUT 2 framework. UTAUT is an abbreviation for the Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology, number 2. It combines different previous acceptance models into an overarching model, and it's been used very, very frequently. It's one of the most well-known and most used models in acceptance studies. Performance expectancy is about, I believe that this technology helps me to attain my goals. Effort expectancy is, I think it's rather easy to use it. Social influence is about, I think that people around me should think I should use this technology. Facilitating conditions is, I have the resources and the skills to use this technology. Hedonic motivation, hey, it's fun. Price value is about, okay, I think it's worth the money. And habit is, it fits within my current teaching practice. Then, of course, we have some moderating variables such as age, gender, and prior experience. Now, from our previous research, both on instructors and on students' acceptance, we decided to drop use behavior because only few participants had prior experience, so it would not be appropriate. And as such, also we dropped habit and price value. But we added some new variables, including personal innovativeness. To what extent do you think you like experimenting with new technologies? Then video gaming experience and prior knowledge is also known as a moderating variable for the acceptance. It was approved by the ethical committee of the KU Leuven. Now, some results. First of all, we did some reliability analysis. It was all very good. What was important is that most of them think they will use and implement immersive technology within the next 6 months. So they are really acceptable to this new technology for soft skills training. All the other means were also very good. What does this mean for our model? Well, actually, you see that performance expectancy, the potential they see in the technology, the social influence, facilitating condition, and hedonic motivation are significantly associated with the intention. This means that these 4 factors predict the uptake of this technology. What was kind of surprising was that VR experience is also directly affecting this intention. When there was also a slightly significant association of video gaming experience, but negatively, which is rather strange because you would expect otherwise, but probably they think, okay, that it was more a game. They had hoped probably that it was more a game. This explains the strange results or the adverse results. Age is significantly moderating, but actually quite low, so you shouldn't bother too much about that. We could explain nearly 60% of the variance, which means that we could explain that we know for 60% of the participants, these are the factors that affect the acceptance. When investigating do the educational affordances also apply to soft skills, we ask them, compared to other teaching methods, is immersive virtuality, and then some other statements. And you see that they all believe that immersive virtuality is actually better or more powerful or more promising than other teaching methods for a whole range of affordances, including self-efficacy, interest, self-regulated learning, but also less complex, because sometimes when looking back at secondary education settings, all these role-playing games, training your conversation skills, they were not really effective, let's be honest. So this is actually a very powerful tool. And also it serves as a selling point. So actually kind of a hype, yes, you know. When the results for the instructors, we saw the kind of the same results, also moderate belief. But interesting to see is that actually more or less only performance expectancy is of interest, which means you should only show the potential and all the rest comes along. A bit social influence, a bit facilitating conditions, and to some extent personal innovativeness, which is in line with prior research, but we should actually focus on performance expectancy. EdTech experience was negatively related. So again, probably they had expected something differently. But the explained variance is higher. So now we see nearly 67%. There are some moderating variables, but actually kind of to be neglected. So when applied to the educational affordances, again, we see that teachers really believe in the potential of immersive virtuality for not only for soft skills training, but for a whole range of educational practices. Also including, for example, opportunities for distance learning. It provides me, thanks to the learning analytics, with a better view on the student's performance, because again, practicing soft skills in a more traditional way, it's very hard because you have to go in all these duos practicing and then listen and then, yeah, but now you have really useful data. Okay, now let's turn to plain English again. When addressing our first research question, which factors contribute or inhibit? Well, actually, both students and instructors think it's a useful instrument to train their soft skills. It's rather easy to use, it's a highly enjoyable learning experience, and they kind of think they master how to use it. In conclusion, we think it might be implemented in the next 6 months, so they are highly acceptable to this technology for soft skills training in their institution. When implementing, on a more practical way, when implementing, so what can we learn from this data for the implementation strategies? Well, first, show the added value. Remember that performance expectancy was the main predicting factor, so you should really show them and not just talk about virtuality. Actually, I stopped doing online webinars, they are online, but webinars on virtuality because you can talk about it, but it's not the same. You have to experience it and really see for yourself what it can mean. So organize demos, showcases, let them experience, and then they will see, okay, this is what it's about. Building experiences prior to the learning, both for students and for instructors. So again, why not first play a game using the VR to make it, they're familiar with the technology, first of all, and see, okay, it's not that difficult, and it's funny, it can be, and then turn to the added value, applying it to their course, prior to implementing it within your course itself. So do not do it in the for the first time in the course itself, because it will fail majorly. Also communicate about what's going on and how it will be embedded, because then you see, okay, my colleague is doing this too. I think it might be interesting to grab a look. And so this is really important. And of course, as always, that's what the learning centers are all about, facilitating in the technical support. Both instructors and students need support to use this technology, because it's about the learning and it's not about the technology. So they should be familiar, and it should be a kind of a smoothless experience. Are there significant moderating variables? So do we need to design different implementation strategies? Actually, when you look at some results, you have noticed that there are some moderating variables. For example, other students believe they have the knowledge and resources more than younger students. The more prior VR experiences, the more they are inclined to use, and so on. However, when diving into the data a bit deeper, you should actually say, well, these are kind of to be neglected. They are not significantly associated with the intention to use. So it's rather good news, actually. It's really easy, because you can just design a general approach, a general implementation strategy for everyone. And finally, how do they perceive of the affordances, the general affordances? Again, it's powerful for self-efficacy, engagement, interest, and self-regulated learning. It provides for a safe, personalized, realistic, and accessible training. It provides the instructors with data they can use to base their evaluation on, and it's a selling point for the higher education institution. And especially more than instructional media. So remember the oh my God, yeah, well, here we have it. It is an oh my God experience. So I expect to see a real increase in both research and in practical solutions for soft skills training using immersive virtuality. And if you want to train your soft skills, please reach out and have a discussion about that.